doesn't say that. Oh, there now it says we're live. Okay.
Kirsten, you have to change
I
your name.
I know.
Okay, so we're technically live, but we're going to take a minute and change our name so we can confuse you. Just a moment. What should my name be? There we go. All right.
Now we're for action.
Welcome to the Monday evening edition of the international live stream of Geek of Mystery show. And it is Monday, the 17th of April, 2023. And it is a couple minutes past 18 o'clock because we're slackers. You know,
Monday.
It's Monday and we're all still wiping the sleep out of our eyes. This evening, there's a couple things I want to talk about, but first, Ricky, did I hear you say you missed NAB today?
I did, yeah. I would have only had about 2 hours to spend there, and there wasn't anything going on in that 2 hours that I was like, oh, I have to go for just this slot of time.
Yeah, okay. But you'll go tomorrow.
Hopefully, yes. I mean, I definitely really want to. I was bummed I missed it today, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, I'm bummed I'm missing these days too, but I've got to do all my recording so that these fine folks at home can have the next course that we're preparing for them. Recording progresses for the Python course, and I'm going to be doing a little more recording. So I'm doing all the intro outros right now, where I sit there in front of the green screen and I say, "Hi, I'm Bill Wyman. This is what this lesson's about," and those all get composited and packaged up and sent off to the editor to get integrated with the screen cap part of the course, which I'll probably start recording later this week. It's a big course and it's taking some time, and I've had some other things going on in my world. How about you, Kirsten? Holograph. I love that. How are you
I figured it would confuse people a little bit more as to what's going on this evening.
I'm confused. Are you actually here, or are we just looking at a hologram?
I guess we'll never know. We will never know.
Computer Arch. Yeah, that didn't work.
I'm sorry, Dave, but I can't do that for you.
Yeah, you don't even know the line. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
I was close enough.
Actually have the Dave Bowman pin on today. Anyway, yeah, so juice jacking. What is juice jacking? Anyone want to help me answer that? What is juice jacking?
Do you want me to give the answer that I thought it was before you told us?
Give me the answer you think it is now.
Oh, well, that's
or you
not
can give us both answers. Give us both answers. That might be fun.
So the first one, I was thinking like, people are into like juicing and making juices out of fruits and vegetables. And I just thought it was somebody like running around stealing people's juices. They were jacking people's juices. Like you walk out of Jamba Juice, somebody comes up, steals your juice, takes off, because that stuff's expensive.
That's evil.
So I just didn't know if we needed to bring light to the situation.
Yeah, well, the other thing is also evil. So tell us what you think now.
So from what I understand, and this has happened to me before, like when you go to plug in your phone to charge it, like if you use a computer or another electronic device, and it asks you, do you want to trust this device? And it'll either say allow or don't trust. The reason that they've done that is like a protocol now, because people can steal your information if you allow the trust.
So that's pretty good. So what juice jacking is if you got your phone or whatever device, it's usually a phone, and you're at like the airport or something, and you just want to top off your phone before you get on long flight or something, or, you got a big long day and you just want to make sure you're going to have enough juice, or it's running low and you just, you need to plug it in. And so they have public charging spots at a lot of places. They have them, at the airport. Sometimes they have them in coffee shops. And you go to plug your phone in, and the charging spot surreptitiously, nefariously installs a virus on your phone. And this is called juice jacking, and it's been around for a long time. I think the first reports of it were around 2010, 2011.
I was going to ask, what is a long time?
Well, in the smartphone world, that's a long time. Smartphones really didn't start until 07, 08. So this is very early in the evolution of smartphones. So the thing to remember about your phone is that this is a computer. It's a full-fledged computer. I can plug in a keyboard and monitor into this thing and type into it commands, and this is a computer. In fact, this is also a computer.
Computers
and-
everywhere.
Yeah. This is very Dick Tracy. I don't know if y'all remember Dick Tracy. For you youngins out there, you can Google the Dick Tracy and see what that's about. So USB, and here's a USB cord I happen to have kicking around on my desk. This is USB-C. Yeah, you can't really see that. So USB is basically a set of connections that do several different things. On two of the pins, you have ground and power, so that you can use that to charge your phone. And there's other protocols involved that'll no, that's it. Your phone then can regulate its charges just directly from that. But there's other pins that allow it to share data with a device on the other end, because the same cord, the same connector is used for both charging and for transferring data, or controlling, like with a keyboard, or a lot of different purposes. And it's basically a serial protocol, which means that bits are transferred on one line as a series of bits. And for a plain charger, so here's a charger. So just a charger like this, it should really just connect the power. And I don't know, there might be some other things that, like identifying itself and such, but it should not identify itself as a computer or as a serial device. It should just identify itself as a charger. And I apologize for not knowing more of the details of the USB protocol. Normally I would do more research before this thing, but I've been busy recording and I took a nap. So this charger should be fairly dumb, and it should not engage the thing in your phone that says, oh, this is a foreign device, right? And it should not have the capability of transferring a virus. But because it's the same connector, it would be, if you've got a charger, wall plate at an airport or someplace, it would be fairly trivial to open up that wall plate and install a different device in place of the charging, and the consumer has no idea, because it's the same connector. It plugs in fine, charges your phone fine, but it also installs a virus. And so when this first started happening in, the early tens, like around 2011, 2012, around there, the phone manufacturer said, okay, well, that's uncool. Kids, don't do that. But they also protected against it because, nefarious thieves and scammers will be nefarious. So now when you connect your phone to a charger, what are you identifying as a nefarious person?
Nope, just raising my hand. It was just bad timing on my part.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Is nefarious your word of the week?
It may be.
I think that's like the third time I've heard you say it today.
I like that word.
Well, for a while it was omnibus.
Yeah, omnibus was a few weeks ago.
And then
No,
there was one in between. I can't remember it, but I think it's nefarious.
nefarious is a nefarious word. So when you plug your phone in to one of these, a charger like this, it'll just say charging, boom, 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 boom. But if there's something else in there that you're not expecting, and it's like a computer or something, your phone will ask you, do you want to trust this device? Do you? As if, wait a minute, why would I want to trust someone? The problem is that a lot of people, they don't know what that means. And they don't know that they're not supposed to trust some random device that they find in an airport. And they'll say, okay, because they want to charge their damn phone, right? If you do not recognize the device, if the device is not yours, if it's not something that's under your control, that you purchased at a store, that you know that this is a goddamn charger and nothing else, right? And I'm trying to, what is the brand of, oh, this is a Monoprice one. I got this one from Monoprice.
You do love your Monoprice.
Yeah, well, they've been good to me over the years. So you can now choose whether or not to trust it. The problem with that is that, now it's putting all the responsibility on the damn consumer, who in this whole chain of events is probably least qualified to make that call. So, all I can say, folks, is don't plug your phone in at the airport.
That's the moral of the story.
Don't plug your phone in any place, buy a goddamn battery. If you're going to be traveling, you can get, and I don't know if I have one handy here. I may have one in my backpack because I travel a lot. At least I used to. Yeah. Battery.
Wow, that's a big mamma jamma.
Yeah, this is a big battery, and this will actually charge my phone from 0 to full 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
If I were to go on a trip that took me, if I were traveling to Europe or something, and then, airport to airport, and then a couple of train rides or something, the whole trip is 24 hours. This is going to get me through it. And it's not expensive. This one, okay, so this is Zendur. I'm trying to remember the brand of it. But this is actually a good brand, and I don't remember, where I got it. Probably Amazon. But
I was going to say Monoprice.
Yeah, well, Monoprice has them too, and they've got good ones for good prices. I don't know how many milliamp hours that is. It's probably something like 2,000 milliamp hours, which is going to keep your phone going for a good long while. Or, if you've got an Apple phone, now with the little magnetic thing on the back, you can get batteries that just, fit right on there and will, charge your phone seamlessly. You can do that. A lot of people do that. I keep the thing in my backpack with a cord attached to it, and I can just run the cord out of the backpack and charge my phone wherever I am and whenever. Yeah. So yeah, don't plug into public USB ports. When you go into a hotel room, they've got these little things, attached to the lamp or whatever, and it's got a USB thing where you can charge it. Don't plug in there. Bring
I
a,
never knew that.
pardon?
I never knew that.
Yeah, just bring a little power brick and plug your phone into that instead. I always bring my own power to hotels. So avoid juice jacking.
And don't steal other people's Jamba Juice.
And also, yes, that's important. People
Oh,
go to
moral.
Jamba Juice, they go to Jamba Juice, they pay their $28 for a juice. And they do that because it's valuable to them. And they've watched the ads and they know that it's going to make them look like an 18-year-old model. And
Oh,
no crunches required.
Speaking of crunches, I kind of thought that juice jacking, when you first said it, I kind of thought it was like steroids, like getting jacked up on the juice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been juice jacking.
Look at y'all go.
of
Right.
Johnny Bravo.
All right. On to clouds.
Cumulonimbus?
What did you say?
Cumulonimbus.
Cumulonimbus.
Strata.
Oh,
Listing.
cumulonimbus. Yeah, those kind of clouds. Well, that's an interesting thing. The term cloud in computing refers to remote amorphous places where you can store things and do things, and right, cloud computing. There's an expression amongst us technophiles that there is no cloud. It's just somebody else's computer. And this is actually true. When a company like AWS that has massive cloud services, they call them cloud services, and all they are is basically computer timeshare. Like way back in the day when we used to connect a dumb terminal to a mainframe, and sometimes we would dial up to something like CompuServe and use their computers. And it's basically the same thing, just rebranded, and certainly a lot more powerful, and a lot more capable. But that's all it is. It's just timeshare computer use. So today there's a trend going on, and Ricky and I, we went to NAB on Sunday, and Ricky will probably go back tomorrow, and I'll probably go back with her. We'll probably go back together on Wednesday. And everything was cloud this, cloud that, cloud the other. We went to this wonderful presentation about how they did all the post-production on the Amazon Rings of
Power.
show, which I saw the first few episodes and I haven't finished it. I should probably finish it. Spectacular effects, epic looking everything, and all that post-production was done collaboratively amongst teams that were spread out all over the world. And so that collaboration aspect is what's making the cloud popular today. The ability to, not just share files, but actually work on files in real time with each other. And, this, I can see how that could be really valuable to, teams of people doing big stuff. For most of us, it seems like overkill to me. Ricky and I, we work on things together sometimes. Ricky is primarily our editor, and I'm like our editor emeritus.
Emeritus. I love that.
Well, is that another word? Should I start using that word, Kirsten?
I need to start making a list of like Bear's words of the month, of the semi-month. I mean, for whatever duration you choose to use them, I think I'm going to start documenting it.
I
It's
Because
like
think-
comfort foods, but it's words.
Yeah.
comfort foods. Yeah. So, sometimes we'll work on things together, or she'll want to show me what she's done, and we transfer files over Dropbox, and it works great. It's all we need for our purposes. But I can see where, teams of people working in the cloud just sounds like a really positive thing. I have a really close friend. I've spoken of him before, Stephen Barnes. He's a science fiction author, and he sometimes collaborates with other authors. Whether they'll work on one will start a chapter, the other will polish a chapter. They work on chapters at the same time, and he has not found good collaborative writing software. I use Scrivener for all of my writing, and Steve has tried to use Scrivener, but when he tried to collaborate with somebody, it just kept corrupting the files, and it's a pain in the ass. And I know this because I will sometimes use Scrivener on multiple devices, and I need to make sure that I actually close a file before I open it on and let it sync to Dropbox before I open it on another device, and this is because of the way that it manages its files. So that would be something worth looking into for the Scrivener folks. Yeah, go ahead. Comment.
No. Just my own personal commentary / question. And you can explain to me why I'm wrong and why this is dumb, but this is the method that Kirsten and I use to collaborate real time on a document. Real time. We will type back and forth to each other on the document as we go through and create it together.
You're using Google Docs.
We're using Google Docs. Why is that wrong? Why are people not using Google Docs and just all logging in at the same time and making edits? Like even Google Slides, Google PowerPoints. I have done collaborative work on Google PowerPoints before live time. So why is that not a thing?
So that's a really, really great question. So you remember back at the top of this discussion, I pointed out how the cloud is just somebody else's computer. So in case, you okay there, Kirsten?
It's late, y'all. I'm sorry. I always forget the time difference. And then I look at the clock and I'm like,
You're catching flies?
yep.
Yeah.
I eat dinner. So
So those Google Docs exist on somebody else's computer. And if what I'm working on is at all proprietary or at all confidential or, just something I'd like to keep control over, you know how I am. I'm paranoid. I don't, when I use social media, I won't say anything that I wouldn't want everybody in the world, that I wouldn't stand, as I like to say it, I wouldn't stand in the rotunda of the CIA building in Washington, D.C. and scream at the top of my lungs. So, but if I'm working on something proprietary, or we're working on a new course or some new marketing strategy or something, I don't really want that to get out to the world. And so I need to make sure that I did this. Yeah, I did. Okay. And so I don't like using Google Docs for that stuff. Now, you guys have insisted on using Google Docs, and that's fine. I also, I don't know. I'm not interested in learning the keystrokes for some new thing unless it's something that I'm going to use a lot. And on the other hand, if I were working on, so one of the considerations, you remember we had this we went to this presentation about the ring of power and all the considerations they put into how they were going to do their collaboration. And a big one was security, right? Not just keeping the files secure so that they don't get lost, but also making sure that, nobody can get in there and pirate their work, right? And so you know, that's my thing with something like Google Docs. It just seems to me too easy to, you know, to get in there and make mischief with it.
Yeah, that's true. But they were really pushing it. They were pushing that cloud. They really were.
They really were, you know, 100 gigabit connections. They said that word, 100 gigabit connections. Most of them were 10 gigabit, but none of this lowly 1 gigabit shit, right? I've got almost 1 gigabit coming into my house here. So 100 of those. But you know, they're also moving these massive files back and forth, and they were working in 4K. They weren't working in 6K or 8K like modern shows today are. You know, as if that's like the dark ages 3 years ago. You know, modern shows are shot in 6K now or 8K. And if we go, and we're gonna go to the Black Magic booth when we go back on Wednesday, and we're gonna look at their new cameras and stuff. All their new shit is 8K now. And you know, and we've got 4K cameras here, but we're delivering content in 2K, which is fine. You shoot in 4K if you want to deliver in 2K. But if I want to deliver in 4K, I'm going to shoot in at least 6 or 8K. And that every time you double the number of pixels, and you're really squaring the number of pixels, right? And so 8K is not twice as much as 4K, it's 4K squared. And is somebody wanting me to do that math there? 4,000 times 4,000, that's 16 million pixels, right? So, oh, and that's just 4K, right? If I go to 8K, that's 64 million pixels. So it's like squared. It's not just double the 16 to 32, it's squared to 64. So, yeah. We're talking, you know, for something like video production, we're talking massive amounts of bandwidth. And for what we do here, that just really seems like overkill. We can share files over Dropbox. I mean,
As long as we have the family plan.
as long as we have the family plan, which we do. All
That
right.
one was not cutting it.
Yeah. So, yeah, so this cloud stuff is all the rage. And you know, and I go in there and I see all of these booths, every little product. Some of them are like, honestly, what does this do? Apparently, you know, that place we went and talked to, they were just storing files. I asked her what's the advantage of this over Dropbox, and it didn't really seem like she had a good answer. Oh, thank you for the cloud emoji there.
That's cute.
The kitty is in the cloud. The kitty is
Exactly.
sleeping on a
Can
cloud.
you do any emoji and put it up there?
Yep.
You shouldn't have told me.
Look at,
that.
see, you see that? This one even moves.
We're having
That's
a party
Congrats
now.
on finding it out.
dangerous.
Did some wow. Wow. But yeah, no, the cloud is, I mean,
For
I
most
agree with your paranoia. I do.
for most purposes, for most, you know, most businesses are small businesses. Most businesses, you know, probably, I don't know the exact statistics, but I'd venture to say that most businesses in this country have 10 or fewer employees, maybe as many as 20, and one location, maybe 2 locations. More and more people are working from home, and I applaud that. I think that's fabulous. And so we need to be sharing. Kirsten really likes it a lot because she gets to be with her kids. Although the downside is, and this was in the job description, she has to work on Pacific time. And
Which was cool. And now it's 8:30 at night. And I'm like, I'm rethinking all life decisions up until this point. So.
Well, yeah. So but for most of us, I think, all of that, you know, collaborative stuff that requires fiber connections to the cloud is a little bit overkill. On the other hand, there will come a time, and it will not be too far off in the future, um, 2, 3, 5 years from now, where a 10 megabit connection into your home is not going to be unheard of. And, for my purposes, the gigabit connection is fine for me. Mostly I don't use all that bandwidth, but every once in a while when I'm doing something like I'm doing right now with this course, and I need to be sharing these giant files with my editor. So the editor who does my courses is back east, I don't know, somewhere in New England. I forget exactly where. And I need to be able to share those files. So I need the bandwidth for that. And so I pay for it. And I also, because I am so crippled when the internet goes out, and for all that I love the amount of bandwidth that I can get from Cox Cable for $150 a month, their reliability, not so much. So I also have a backup, what do you call it? Starlink, where, I don't get gigabit anymore. I get like 100 megabit, which, does the job if I need to. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on the cloud and, this new trend of cloud collaboration. I think it's got its place. I think for some teams that's going to be useful, but for most of us, I think we can share files on Dropbox. Ms. Holograph.
That would be me. The first thing I thought of when you said we were going to talk about the cloud, I cannot for the life of me. So maybe y'all can help me because y'all are both movie buffs. But there's this one movie where they're like, it went to the cloud, and they're like, what's the cloud? And they're like, I don't know, like the cloud, like it just goes up into the cloud. I want to say that it was like an inappropriate video. It's supposed to be like a rom-com, like funny movie, but it was like an inappropriate video that got uploaded to the cloud, and they couldn't figure out what the cloud was because they were like a little older for the time being.
I think it was a sex tape.
I think so. But that's all I think about, because when people are like, oh, the cloud, I genuinely think to myself, like, who, what, when, where, why, how. It's magic.
Do you have a better understanding now?
Yes. So I probably started with that before you went on your spiel.
Well, I tried to explain it, but I can explain it a little better. AWS, which is the largest cloud provider in the world, Amazon Web Services, they have data centers. They got 3 or 4 of them in the US. The one that we use is in Vermont. You can pick your data center when you sign up for your services, so that it's as close to you as you want it to be, or as close to your customers. One of the things, so they've got these data centers. I know they've got one in Vermont. They've got one in Chicago. They've got one in California. They have one in Hong Kong. They've got one in Europe, or probably several in Europe. On and on and on and on. They've got some in what do they call it? Australasia. Like in New Zealand, they've got one. In Australia, and these people were talking. There was a problem with one of their data buckets. They call them data buckets, where you store data. And rather than waiting for them all to sync up, they said, well, why don't we just work off the one in the US, even though they were working in England and in New Zealand. And so they just worked off the one in the US instead. And because of their really fast data pipes, they couldn't even tell. And they realized that the location of their data center almost didn't matter. But yeah, that's what it is. There's these data centers. They got bazillions of computer racks and racks and racks of computers. And these aren't computers that take up this much space. These are computers that take up this much space. And there's just, you can find on the internet, if you look for it, Google's first first computers that they ran Google on. And what they did is they bought a bunch of motherboards and stacked them on top of each other with cardboard in between. And that was the beginning of Google. And that's pretty much what the cloud is. They're usually blade computers, which will, so this is a Raspberry Pi. This is a computer. This is a whole computer. You know, in my house, I've got these little displays with the weather on them and stuff. They run on these. So it's, you know, it's this and a monitor and a power brick and, you know, one of these for power. I mean, honestly, that's, so you know, if you, the cloud is bazillions of these. So you got, you know, 50 of them in one rack space, you know, 50 of them in your next rack space. You have a tower of, you know, 50 rack spaces, and then you got, you know, cabinets and cabinets, you know, 50 of them in a row, and then, you know, hundreds of rows of the data center, right? And that's what the cloud is.
Phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty living space.
Yeah, yeah.
From
So,
Aladdin.
Ricky, how we doing on viewership? Anybody? Are we talking into the air, or are people paying?
Well, we have good engagement. We don't have any comments yet, but we have 5 likes, but our watchers dropped off a little bit. We have 2 watching now.
Okay, but there are still some people watching.
Yes.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. Yeah, that's all I got. You know, I want to talk a little bit about this, and I don't mind doing this live. So we hired this guy, and I think he was in Spain or someplace, to do some promotion to get us over the bump for our monetization. Have you, Ricky, been following the progress on that? Because I've been following the progress, and I don't see
Yeah.
I don't see any different. We're getting more subscribers, but we're not getting any more our view hours are consistent with what they've been for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a process, and I'm pretty sure he's in India or Pakistan, not
Yeah, that's
Spain.
right. He was in Pakistan. He's in South Asia. Right, right.
Right. But I mean, the whole getting us to monetization, the timeline that they give us is a month.
Right.
And we're a week into that month. So I still have hope, and I still believe in this,
Yeah.
in our helper.
All right. So maybe after NAM, we reach out to him and we say, hey, our subscribers are up, but that's not what we need. What we need is view hours. I mean, subscribers are good. You know, I'll take it, but view hours would be good. Maybe the video that he's linking to isn't one of our best videos to link to. He should be linking to our SQL promo video, right?
Right.
Is that what he's linking to?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's linking to several of our videos. So I'll reach out to him actually probably when we're off of this call, and I'll ask.
Okay. Yeah, because it's his daytime now, right? It's his morning. He hasn't had his coffee yet.
I feel like I need to start drinking coffee at night. Freaking wired for these lives.
Oh no, you're fine. You know, it's adorable watching you yawn and fall asleep at your desk. And
I'm gonna pull a weekend at Bernie on y'all.
you know what? No, I have seen it, but I don't remember it. It's so long ago.
Basically, spoiler alert for people that are watching that haven't seen it.
Or something.
Yeah, he dies, but they like cart him around all weekend and make him look like he's alive.
Oh, right. I remember that. Yeah.
So I'll just like throw on some sunglasses and sit here like this.
Yeah, it's a great idea. All right. Well, I'm going to let you turn in. We're good now. Thank you all. Thank you to all of our viewers. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. 11 a.m. Pacific time on all of our social